Hello and welcome to your March 2022 forecast readings with me, Intuitive Rene. Always such an honor and privilege to be here for you, and thank you for giving me the space to create this kind of content that keeps you inspired, motivated, and enthusiastic about life. So we are looking at March 2022. I actually can't quite wrap my head around that, but anyway, um, what this video is a series of 12 individual videos that are the same but completely different. Basically, I record a single video for each sign of the zodiac using the same layout or the same spread, the same deck of cards, but obviously the cards that come through, the messages that come through, and the reading that comes through will be completely different for each sign of the zodiac. So there are 12 identical spreads or 12 identical readings, and you get to choose one based on your sun sign. And if you know yourself, your astrology, and you know your rising sign and your moon sign, you're welcome to watch those as well to get other aspects or just another angle on your own life and your own what's coming through for you during the month of March 2022. So these videos, these taroscopes as I call them, they are released the week before the new month. So in the last week of the previous month, you will get them, which is why you're now getting the March readings. And the way that I suggest that you work with this is obviously before the month starts itself, watch the video to get an idea of what's in store for you, what you need to be aware of, what you need to know about, what's coming up for you, so that you can almost plan and be prepared for anything. And then during the month, at least once, I would say about halfway through, but anytime that you find yourself facing a challenge or facing a problem, come back to the video and look at it, watch it again, even if you just pick out certain aspects of it, just to remind you and to help you stay focused on whatever it is that you need to stay focused on. So before I push the record button, I do all the behind the work scenes of connecting to spirit and setting the intentions and all of that other kind of good stuff, and making sure that I set the intentions correctly for each one of you. So it is a collective reading, so it's for everybody who has the same sign of the zodiac, but each one of you will hear something different through the reading, and that's the intention that I set, and that's the way that I work with spirit. We're using the tarot just as a tool, just to help formulate, if I can say, the stuff that needs to come across. And for this month, for the month of March, I am working with two amazing decks. The first one I'm going to work with is if I can get the glare off, is the Enchanted Map Oracle. And the Enchanted Map Oracle is going to give us our theme for the month ahead. And it's the first card that we're going to draw through the reading. And like I said, I do love working with this particular deck. This is such an old deck. I think it's like one of the first that ever joined my collection from the Oracle point of view. And I mean, it is so old and grubby and dirty and fabulous. So I love working with Enchanted Map to give us our theme for the month ahead. And then, getting quite excited, I'm going to work with the Spacious Tarot. So the Spacious Tarot is a normal, typical tarot deck, but from a different perspective. The whole deck, every single card, if I remember correctly, there's no people in the deck, so it's almost like from your eyes. Okay, so it's if you're looking at whatever's in front of you, but from your eyes or from your vantage point, it's the Spacious Tarot. It's the space in front of you. So because we're doing a forward look, because we're looking at the month ahead, I thought working with the Spacious Tarot, and it's such a beautiful deck. The artwork is just exquisite. So quite looking forward to working with Spacious Tarot as well. And of course, they're a beautiful sized deck. It's not overly large and difficult for me to shuffle and to work with. They're a beautiful size, perfect size as far as I'm concerned. So those are the two decks that I'm going to be working with. And as I mentioned earlier on, I am doing quite a detailed spread. I've got 10 cards or 10 card positions. So I'm going to shuffle and lay out 10 cards and read. It is the same format that I used in February. So if you enjoyed the format I used, then we're going to work with the same format for the month of March. And we're going to lay out the 10 cards and just see what comes through for every one of you. This particular intro is a generic intro. So I'm recording this intro once, and I'm just going to add it into every single video that I create hereafter for the March Taroscopes. And I just do it to save myself repetitive talking, and also because when I start recording and I start like with Aries and move all the way through to Pisces, I get in the zone, okay? And because of that, I want to just, when I'm doing those readings, just get straight into it and bring through whatever information that you need. If you enjoy this kind of content and if you enjoy these taroscopes, I am just a small channel here on YouTube. I'm nobody big and fancy and fabulous. So the best way to support and to show appreciation for what I do is to give the video a thumbs up and a comment below. Get all your friends to come and watch. But the more you interact with the video, the more you're letting YouTube know that this is good content and other people need to see it. So YouTube will recommend it to other people, and that's the best way to support me, and also just to show me that that you do enjoy what I do. So thank you so much, and let's get straight into your reading. Right, Libra, let's get into your reading and let's have a look and see what the month has in store for you. I am shuffling the Enchanted Map Oracle to give us our theme for the month ahead. So shuffling, we're looking for a single card for all Libra energy for the month of March 2022. Right, I think the cards are shuffled, and now I'm going to take that card over there. Sorry for the glare. Let's have a look and see what is your theme for March 2022. Spark. Oh, I love that. So she's playing a violin, and you can see all these hearts that she is firing off, if I can put it that way, and you know where they land, the spark that they create and all of that kind of stuff is just going to be absolutely gorgeous. Spark for me is about initiation, about instigation. It's about the initial, the start of something. But it could be the start of something beautiful in the line of these hearts, but it could also be the spark of a fire, you know, the spark that triggers off a fire. So we need to be very aware. I'm seeing what looks to me like really big, tall grass behind her, if I can put it that way, because to me it looks like a dandelion there and a dandelion. I don't know if those are bubbles or dandelions. To me, I don't know. I want to. There could be bubbles. There could be bubbles. I don't know. I don't know. But spark to me is about being very aware of that tiny little something that triggers, initiates, or begins something so much bigger. Whether that is a positive around an emotion or whether it is a spark of a fire. And you know, what is fire? Fire is passion, isn't it? So this is sparking of passion. And I think, you know, Libra, for the month of March, that as a theme, I think, is wonderful. We're going to see more details around it. So now let me pick up the Spacious Tarot, and I'm going to give the Spacious Tarot a shuffle as we try and understand this spark. What does the spark relate to? What is the spark all about? And how is the spark going to treat us during the month of March? Okay, so let's just give the cards a good shuffle. I'm then going to lay out the 10 cards that we need for the spread. And then I will start the interpretations. Okay, I do think the cards are well shuffled already. So let's cut the deck. Okay, so Libra, oh, I like it. Starting off with the Fool, fabulous. Positive, positive, positive. Oh, wow, all the way through. Loving where this is going. Okay. I try not to give too much away while I'm laying out the cards, because then it sort of spoils the fun. But let's just, I'm nearly done. Put all the cards out. Okay, this is very interesting indeed. All right, so Libra, we've started off talking about the spark, talking about, you know, and we're talking about how the spark could be both positive or a negative. It's the spark which initiates, which starts, which begins something that becomes something bigger and better. But it is about the spark of passion, the spark of enthusiasm, the spark of creativity, even, is what I'm getting from that. And what I'm loving around this is March is all about that initiation, that beginning, that first step that we take into the unknown. And it is also saying to you, because the Fool card is the very first card of the tarot, card 0, which talks about that first step. It's about trust, it's about having blind faith, and it's about taking that step into the unknown, knowing that you're going to be okay and that everything's going to work out the way that it needs to, the way that it should. So it's about not having too many limits and restrictions and not having too many expectations even. And I know, Libra, you know, for all of you, it could be a bit tricky. It could be a bit difficult to do that. You know, in some areas of life, yes, this is easy. In some areas of life, we can just boldly go where nobody has gone before. But in other areas of life, especially when it comes to I'm going to call it matters of the heart, family, things that are relevant and important to you. We could get a little bit more cautious in taking the chances and taking the steps and making that leap that we need to go. But honestly, it's about March is going to be about lots and lots and lots of those. And I say lots and lots of those because I've had a sort of a glimpse into the rest of the cards. And you know what I didn't do? Hold a second. I didn't look to see what is predominant here. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 major arcana cards. So this spark that we are experiencing in the month of March is actually going to be quite big. It's not just going to be simple kind of casual stuff. It's actually going to be quite significant. So I am going to say, before we move on to any of the other cards, Libra, I am going to say buckle your seatbelt, because this spark is going to trigger a big, I'm going to say a big, bold event in your life, one that you need, one that you want, one that actually needs to take place. This is not a choice. This is something that actually needs to take place. And it starts by you stepping off into the unknown, by taking that leap of faith, and by just trusting that the universe is going to have your back. But it's also about recognizing that tiny, tiny spark that's going to become so much more. The challenge that we have, all right, the challenge that we have for you here, Libra, is the Three of Cups, which is the card of social friendship, time with significant others, spending time with friends and family. That is the challenge, because when we spend time with friends and family, they become our objective. They become the thing that we focus on. Making other people happy becomes the thing that we most concern ourselves with. But the truth of the matter is, we want to be there for our friends and family, of course, but we also need to start thinking more along the lines of our own selves and what it is that we want and what is it that we need. If we spend too much time focusing on friends and family, it almost boxes us in. And it's interesting, I say that, and I suddenly notice that each of these areas that these cups are on look almost square. And square is a box shape, and very structured and very solid and very stable and very strong. But actually what we want is, we don't want to be boxed in. We don't want to be limited or restricted. We want to be free to explore anything, free to go anywhere, free to just live our life. So you're going to find yourself during the month of March experiencing these moments of spark. And we're hoping that 1, 2, 3, 4, however many of them, we're hoping that they do trigger something, an event, a function, and it is something in your life that's going to take you into uncharted territories. But we need to make sure that we're not allowing our social engagements, our family and our friends, to limit and restrict us. We need to be allowing ourselves the opportunity to move beyond our borders and our expectations. Now, what's lying beneath the surface is judgment. So if we just observe the artwork on this particular card, we can see we've got a bit of a white snowy scene. There's clearly a pathway leading to a door, which seems to be almost like a vortex into a whole nother realm. You can see that the path continues, but the coloring is different. So it's about recognizing that once you've stepped past or stepped beyond that border, that you're in a whole nother universe, a whole nother world. And if I put these two together, isn't it almost, I mean, the artwork is different, but if you step off this ledge, we can't see what lies on the other side. And it's about taking that leap of faith, and without any judgment, without any expectations. And the spark is that moment that you step through or step over. That is the spark, that moment of fear, of panic, of adrenaline, of excitement, of all of that. That is the spark. That is the moment that is in question here. So what's lying beneath is that there's like something within your soul where you are craving something else. You are craving this universe, this world, this experience, but you've stayed in the safe zone for too long because of the social friends and family situation. And this is Spirit saying to you, it's time to let that go. It's time to leave that behind you, and it's time to venture forth and to see what lies ahead, because one tiny little spark could actually mean so much more in the bigger scheme of things. In the past, you've done everything correctly. You've done everything with perfect precision. You've done everything in exactly the right way. The Elder of Swords in traditional tarot would be the King of Swords. And the King of Swords is somebody who's very stern and very strong and very capable. But, he's very strategic and he thinks things through and he's very precise. Precise is the word that I have to use with him. And this is who you've been in the past. Everything that you've done in the past, Libra, has been precise because of a particular outcome or because of a particular whatever it is, energy that you've put into it. Everything has had a purpose and a place and a function. Now, Spirit is saying to you, let's leave all of that away. Let's leave all of that aside and let's step into the unknown. Let's take ourselves out of our comfort zone. Let's allow the spark to initiate something within us that's going to allow us to step into the unknown, to step into a world that we cannot even begin to comprehend at this stage. Now, the support that is available to you, here we have the Guardian of Swords. Guardian of Swords would be the Queen of Swords. So we had the King of Swords, we've got the Queen of Swords, and then there's a Two of Swords. We'll get onto that one in a minute. So we've got the King and the Queen standing together. All right, and that is so significant because the King is about control and dominance and strategy and power and enthusiasm. And the Queen, she's more softer, gentler, more nurturing, more caring, but she also is working towards a plan of her own, okay? And the King and the Queen often work together, but often it's the Queen who is nudging the King and saying, hey, let's do this, let's do that, let's do something else. So the support that's available to you here with our Guardian of Swords, this is Spirit saying to you, we got you, okay? Yes, you may be stepping out of your comfort zone. Yes, you may be, having to do something you've never done before or never thought you would ever have to do, all right? But it's going to be okay. We've got your back. We've got you. We're here for you. We will support you. We will help you and guide you. But you do have to trust us. You may not understand fully what's taking place. You may not understand the full picture, but what you have to do is you have to trust us. Trust us. We've got your back. We will walk this journey with you, and we will help you take that step. We will help you follow through with that spark and allow that spark to initiate into whatever it needs to be. And what are we moving towards? And this is so interesting that this one has come through. So we have I'm going to call it an iceberg out at sea. You can see the ocean. We have these two swords. Instead of being point down, they are point up. Okay, so you can see that they're upside down. And I love how we have this little shrub growing here through the ice. Perseverance and persistence and all that kind of stuff. These swords are like completely upside down. And upside down is sometimes a good thing, it's sometimes a bad thing. In this particular case, it actually is completely irrelevant. It's almost like we've done this. It's not like they've fallen that way. It's we've placed it this way. Now, this particular position over here was what you're working towards, what you're moving towards. And one thing that I noticed with these swords here, Libra, is that they are blocking the sunrise. I don't know if it's clear on camera, but you can see this little bit of yellow in the background there. So the sun is coming up, but these swords, we've placed them in a way that they are blocking us from seeing the light. So we need to be very aware and very mindful of what we do, how we do it. And we need to make sure that we're not blocking the light. So we're moving towards a place of seeing what we've done wrong, the fact that our swords are that way and not that way, seeing what we've done wrong, rectifying what we've done wrong, so that we can see the light, so that we can flourish, so that we can grow, so that we can do everything that we need to do. And it all starts with that initial thought, that initial spark, that initial kind of thought process that happens in our heads. It's very interesting. I'm loving this. So Libra, if I look at everything here, I am going to say to you that March is going to need you to climb out of your comfort zones, okay? You're going to have to step into the unknown a little bit. You're going to have to walk on the wild side a little bit. You're going to have confidence to do things that you have never done before, but you've got the backup and the support of Spirit. And it's about undoing our actions from the past that may have caused us harm without us even realizing it, okay? What we have over here with this particular card, so this is the Two of Wands. And if we look at this card, so we've got a perfectly precisioned wand or stick over here with a nice handle and everything. And then the white one on the side here is a little bit raw, a little bit rustic. It's a little bit crooked. It's a little bit imperfect. So you've got perfect versus imperfect. If you look at the backgrounds, we've got this beautiful kind of pinkishy, peachishy kind of color, and we've got this dark black purple color. And both of them are coming to a point where they are making some beautiful green magic. So it's about recognizing your perfections and your imperfections. Now, the interesting thing here, the spread position, this location here, the card's interpretation, or sorry, this position in the spread, is about the way that people see you, the way that people perceive you, the way that people understand you. And this is Spirit saying that people see you as either being perfect in some areas, imperfect in other areas, but regardless, you're always able to perform magic. So immediately, and that's where this card comes in. Remember, we were saying here that the challenge that you're experiencing at the moment is the way that you take care of your friends and family, the way that you're always there for other people on a social level, and how you'll always put other people's needs, wants, and desires before your own. And because people see you in this way, it almost adds to that pressure of you needing to be that person. So it's about recognizing that. It's about recognizing how people see you and the pressure that this puts on you. And almost, if I can say, releasing yourself from that. So Libra, it's about releasing yourself from this pressure of always having to be there and always having to navigate everybody else's life stories. Now it's time for you to only focus on your own. Okay. How do you see yourself? Well, I love this card. It's one of my favorites from this particular deck. So if you imagine yourself lying on the ground in the middle of a forest, you can see all the trees around you, and you're looking up at the night sky, and you're seeing all the stars. In that particular moment, we can get quite lost in our thoughts and quite lost in the moment, isn't it? And when we're looking up at the stars, we almost suddenly start imagining, we suddenly start dreaming, we suddenly start wishing for so many, better things in life. And this is you. Like, it's almost as if I want to say, and I know there's not a single cloud in this card, but it's almost like you see yourself as somebody who's got your head in the clouds. You're constantly daydreaming and thinking and planning and saying, oh, if only it could be like this, and if only it could be like this. The Star card is the card of hope. It's the card of renewal. It's the card of healing, and it's the card of everything being okay. So people see you as being able to perform, I'm going to call it miracles, Doesn't matter if you're perfect or imperfect, you always manage to get things done. And you see yourself as somebody who's a little bit lost in your thoughts. And I want to say, between the Fool card, the Star card, and the Judgment card, it is about finding your balance, finding your confidence to actually not just imagine, but to actually take those steps. Let that spark of imagination, that spark of a dream, initiate you, drive you to action, drive you to actually making something happen, turning your mistakes from the past around so that they are no longer holding you back and no longer stopping you from seeing the light. Good. I'm getting so excited to get to these two cards. You have no idea. You're probably looking at them going, no. And Renee's going like, yes. So let's get into it. So here we have the devil, the dreaded devil card. What I love about this particular artwork is we can't actually see the devil. Can you see the devil in the card? I can't see the devil in the card. What we have here is a forest, but it's a burnt forest. I don't know. Is it a burnt forest? Is it a dead forest? Is it a forest at night? Like, what are we actually looking at? Some people are saying that these resemble the bars on a jail cell. So maybe you're trapped and stuck, and this is what's holding you back. This is the cage that's keeping you in. Now let's just talk about the devil card in tarot for a second. The devil card in tarot is the card of obsessions and addictions and, the kind of temptations that keep us trapped and keep us caged and keep us living the wrong life that we want to be living. So you've got to ask yourself, is this trapped or is this heaven? Some people who really connect with wood energy or with being in the woods, they would love that. They would think that that is just the most beautiful thing out. But to somebody else, it could be absolutely the most scary thing. It all depends on your point of view. It all depends on your point of reference. Now, this position is about your fears, about the things that you most worry about, the things that you're most anxious about. And I think the way that I'm interpreting this for you, Libra, is that March is going to make you face your fears, make you face your perceived limitations of not being able to take those steps, perceived limitations of not being able to undo our mistakes from our past. And we've got to recognize that these are just bits of wood in the dark. You know, there is nothing there except what you imagine, except what you perceive. So you've got to dig deep within yourself and find the courage and the confidence, because you've got the support of spirit. Find the courage and the confidence to see your perceived fears in a different way, so that suddenly you can overcome them. And it all, again, it starts with a spark. If this is a burnt forest, see where your spark went? Burnt forest, not so burnt forest, okay? So the spark could take you either way. But one thing is absolutely certain in the month of March is that, Libra, you have to let that spark create, let that spark initiate, let that spark move you in a direction you need to go. Okay, so the big one. March starts off with unlimited potential. March starts off with you stepping off that ledge, stepping into the unknown, trusting that everything's going to be okay. March ends off with our spark becoming lightning that is striking our tower and causing it to come crashing down. Now, like I said to you, I'm so excited about this. I always get excited with the Tower card, because to me the Tower card is wonderful. I have to bring these two into the picture. So when I was talking about the Two of Swords earlier on, I was talking about the mistake that we made in the way that we placed the swords, that we placed them sharp side up. Okay, we've placed them sharp side up instead of safety first, sharp side down. The way that we've positioned them has also inadvertently blocked out the light. So this is a sort of a nudge from spirit to say, look, you've made a bit of a boo-boo, you've made a bit of a mistake. This is not great. Okay, you're not serving any functional purpose here, and you're actually limiting your own growth and development. So why don't we fix the mistakes of our past? Why don't we repair this? And if we are stubborn, and yes, Libra, I'm talking to you, if we are stubborn and if we don't take this advice, this is where we end up. We end up with the Tower card, because the Tower card is always a suggestion and a sort of a hint, nudge, wink, wink scenario from spirit. The Tower card is the one that says to you, I've given you a couple of warnings. I've said to you, I've given strong suggestions that maybe you should make a change, that maybe you should allow that spark to create, initiate, and to do something within yourself. I've given you plenty warning. And if you don't choose to do or to allow or to make the changes voluntarily, then you know what? You leave spirit no choice but to force it on you. The fact that you had the king and the queen coming through right next to each other is again confirmation that everything is ready. Everything is lined up. Everything is as it should be to make the changes. So Libra, you can avoid the tragedy of your world crumbling by making the changes. Letting that spark of initiation, that spark of inspiration, that spark of creativity, by having the courage and the confidence to take that one step that is needed in whichever direction needs to go. Because if you back out, if you focus more on making friends and family happy and do the social, instead of working on yourself and taking those movements that you need to make, Spirit is saying to you, by the end of March, if you don't do it voluntarily, if you don't make the relevant changes, they're going to help you along. And it may not be so pleasant, but the outcome will be the same. So you can choose to do it on your own, comfortably, safely, when it suits you. Or if you choose not to, if you choose to be afraid and to be nervous and to hold back, it's going to happen. It's going to be forced on you. And the change is actually quite easy. It's literally taking one step in a direction, and you will know what that direction is. So I don't know what area of life the spark relates to. I don't know if this area of life is work, if it's romance, if it's finances, if it's health. I don't know what area of life it is, and it'll probably be a different area of life for every single one of my Librans out there. But just please take this as gospel, Spirit saying to you, if you don't initiate change in your life, it's going to be forced on you because it's a way of rectifying past mistakes. We're not saying that those mistakes were done on purpose. They were probably inadvertent, but they were made nonetheless. All right, Libra, you got this. You got this. I hope March is fabulous and amazing, and I hope the trip that you're about to go on is wonderful and so much more than you could ever imagine. But follow that spark. Let that spark guide you. All right. With love and blessings from my heart to yours. And until we connect again, take care.